One of the most fascinating topics when talking about the United States is its colonial history. Before it became the modern country we know today, the land, especially in the northern part of America, was once nothing more than untamed wilderness, partly inhabited by indigenous tribes, and only just being explored by ships arriving from Europe. From the windy eastern coastline to the edge of Lake Superior in the west, small colonies began to emerge, slowly growing into towns that still exist today. In this journey, we'll explore some of the oldest towns in the northern United States, discovering how the past has shaped the nation's identity. We'll take a closer look at how these towns were born, how they survived, and how they've aged along with history. Our journey begins in Albany, a city that's actually older than New York City itself. According to records, it was founded in 1614 when Dutch traders established Fort Orange along the Hudson River. This fort quickly became a hub for the fur trade with the Iroquois tribes, making Albany one of the earliest economic centers in the Dutch colonies. Over time, the fort was swept away by rising waters from the melting snow in the Hudson River and was rebuilt nearby. However, it suffered major damage and was later replaced by Fort Frederick in 1624. That fort became part of the village of Beverwyck in 1652, which eventually developed into the city of Albany in 1686. Today, Albany stands as the second oldest chartered city in the United States and serves as the capital of New York State. Government buildings sit alongside old Dutch-style brick houses. Here, colonial history blends with modern life without losing the character of its early days. A few years after Albany was founded, a group of passengers aboard the Mayflower landed on the shores of Massachusetts. Known as the Pilgrims, they were a group seeking religious freedom after facing persecution by the Church of England, which they believed had become too corrupt. From this moment, the town of Plymouth was born, and it's now widely recognized as a symbol of America's early beginnings. It was in this very town that the tradition of Thanksgiving began, with a humble meal shared between the settlers and the native tribes. Today, Plymouth thrives on historical tourism, drawing visitors to see the legendary Plymouth Rock and the replica ship Mayflower II. While modern times have brought changes, Plymouth still feels like the opening chapter of America's storybook. From Plymouth, we travel to Gloucester, a historic harbor town that has been home to tough, resilient fishermen since 1623. It began when a group of fishermen and farmers from the Dorchester Company decided to settle here, attracted by the region's abundant codfish. Gloucester's strategic location, with its accessible harbors and rich fishing grounds, naturally positioned it as a maritime and fishing center. Over the centuries, it grew into one of America's most important hubs for the fishing industry. But the same ocean that gave life has also taken many. The Fisherman's Memorial by the harbor stands in honor of the thousands who lost their lives at sea. Even today, the sound of fishing boats in the early morning and the salty scent of the ocean continue to define the heartbeat of this coastal town. In the same year, over on the far northeastern edge, a small town named Kittery was founded. Trappers, hunters, and lumberjacks were among the first English settlers who established this town in 1623. But Kittery is better known for its shipyards, which were busy building vessels for the British fleet, earning it the title of the oldest town in Maine. From the 1650s, Kittery played a key role in the prosperity of the Massachusetts Bay Colony as a center for trade and shipbuilding. Its reputation even reached far beyond the region, becoming a regular stop for sailors. Local legends claim that pirates like Captain Kidd and Blackbeard once visited the town. No matter the stories, Kittery grew alongside the maritime industry, and even today, the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard still operates here, carrying on a 400-year tradition. Walking through the town feels like stepping back in time. 17th century wooden houses still stand, and the atmosphere is so peaceful it feels like time moves slower here than anywhere else. Not far from Kittery, along the banks of the Cocheco River, sits the town of Dover, recognized as the oldest town in New Hampshire. Founded in 1623, Dover's growth was heavily shaped by the nearby Cocheco and Bellamy rivers. At first, Dover was just a small fur trading post, but it quickly became an important colonial center. Its history isn't always pleasant. In 1689, the town witnessed a tragic attack during a violent clash between settlers and native tribes. But like many other old New England towns, Dover rose again, rebuilding itself from the ashes. Today, Dover is a warm and welcoming city, home to more than 34,000 people. It's filled with parks and, of course, historic buildings. Among the fiery red maple trees of fall, life moves peacefully here, a stark contrast to its rough beginnings. Back in Massachusetts, Salem might seem like just another small town, but its name echoes across the world. Not because of its riches, but because of the infamous 1692 witch trials, a dark chapter in colonial American history. More than 200 people were accused of witchcraft, and about 20 of them were executed in brutal ways. But long before that tragedy, Salem had already become a major seaport. Its ships sailed to Asia and Africa, bringing back spices and fabrics from distant lands. Today, Salem thrives on both history and mystery. Museums, historic homes, and Halloween festivals make it a unique place, one where a haunting past has been transformed into a captivating attraction. Just a few miles from Salem lies the town of Marblehead, a coastal community that began as a humble fishing village. Founded in 1629, it's known as one of New England's historic seaside towns, especially for its deep ties to maritime history and its role in the American Revolution. Yes, Marblehead grew up with the sea. Many of its sailors joined America's first naval forces when the Revolution broke out. From the small docks here, the spirit of independence once sailed into the fog. Today, Marblehead's winding, narrow cobblestone streets are still lined with carefully preserved wooden homes and well-maintained architecture from the 17th and 18th centuries. Next up is a city that hardly needs an introduction. Even without saying its name, you likely know it already. Yes, this city is the beating heart of American history. Founded by Puritan colonists in 1639, Boston quickly grew into a hub of education and trade. But what made it legendary was its role in the American Revolution, the place where people famously dumped tea into the harbor in defiance of colonial rule. On a bright day, Boston thrives in perfect harmony between past and present. The Freedom Trail leads you on foot past old churches, patriot graves, and colonial-era buildings, all standing in the shadows of modern skyscrapers. In this city, history is a part of everyday life. Meanwhile, north of Boston, there's Ipswich, a small town that holds the largest collection of colonial houses in all of America. Nearly every street here still looks like it did back in the 1600s. The people of Ipswich protect that heritage as if it were a piece of their own identity. But Ipswich isn't only about colonial nostalgia. The town is also home to stunning natural beauty, grassy meadows, old stone bridges, and rivers that shimmer in the sunlight. Walking through Ipswich feels like flipping through the pages of a history book that's still open and alive. Heading south through New England, we arrive in Hartford. Unlike some of the earlier towns, this one hasn't stayed rooted in the past. Hartford is a city that keeps evolving, balancing its colonial heritage with a strong spirit of modern innovation. Here, the past and future move side by side. Strategically located on the banks of the Connecticut River, the river served both as a lifeline and an economic link. Since its founding in 1635, Hartford flourished throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, eventually earning the title Insurance Capital of the World. Classic buildings and literary museums, including the home of Mark Twain, stand as living proof of the city's historic legacy and ongoing relevance. Back up in northern Massachusetts, you'll find the peaceful coastal town of Newbury. Founded by Puritans in search of a simple life, the town grew slowly alongside its open fields and white-steepled churches. Part of Newbury eventually developed into Newbury Port, a busy port that played a major role during the age of sailing ships. But in Old Newbury, time seems to stand still. It's quiet, wide open, and calm. Only the soft creak of wind across the fields seems to whisper the names of the town's early founders to each visitor who passes through. Have you ever heard of Lewes? It's the first settlement along the Delaware River, originally established by Dutch colonists in 1631. It was first named Swannendale, but later renamed Lewes, after a town in Sussex County, England, when William Penn took control of the area. As a harbor town, Lewes has had a deep connection with the sea for over 3 centuries, and today it's known as a popular coastal getaway. Beachside activities like fishing, boating, and water sports remain beloved pastimes here. The town is also home to the Delaware Bay pilots, who guide cargo ships safely between Wilmington and Philadelphia, as well as the University of Delaware's College of Marine Studies. While the previous towns were shaped by Dutch settlers, this one has a different story. The land that would become Green Bay was first visited by Europeans in 1634 when French explorer Jean Nicolet arrived. He named the area La Baie Verte, or the Green Bay, inspired by the color of the water. Over time, Green Bay became a thriving fur trading post, connected by the Mississippi, Wisconsin, and Fox rivers. The first settlers were the family of Charles de Langlade from Quebec, who arrived around the 1740s. The area later fell under British control until it was lost following the American Revolution. With the arrival of the railroad, Green Bay evolved into a manufacturing center, booming with industries like iron smelting and lumber milling. Today, Green Bay is often ranked as one of the best places to live in the country. What do you think? Next, we visit a city once called America's Athens. That's right, Annapolis. It was founded in 1649 by Puritan refugees from Virginia. At first, they gave the settlement a few different names, including Anne Arundel Town and Providence. In 1694, it was renamed Annapolis in honor of Princess Anne, heir to the English throne at the time. The city played a key role in American history, most notably as the site of the Annapolis Convention in 1786, which paved the way for the more famous Philadelphia Convention that followed. Today, this historic port city is known for its sailboats and is home to the United States Naval Academy and its museum, filled with artifacts from the nation's naval past. And now we've reached the final stop on our journey, right on the edge of Lake Superior. Here lies Sault Ste. Marie, the oldest city in Michigan and in the entire Midwest. Founded in 1668 by French missionaries, it became a vital fur trading center and a gateway into Canada. Water from Lake Superior flows through massive canals and locks here, connecting two Great Lakes and two nations. Even today, Sault Ste. Marie remains a place where cultures meet. French, English, and Ojibwe are still spoken in daily conversation, reflecting the city's deep multicultural roots. From Albany, which has stood for over 4 centuries, to Sault Ste. Marie on the lakeshore, these towns are the first chapters in the long story of Northern America. They hold tales of bravery, loss, and hope about people who sailed thousands of miles to start a new life in a land that had no name. In the end, walking through these old towns is like flipping through a nation's photo album. Every street, every home, every harbor tells the story of a past that still breathes under the northern sun. So what do you think?